You have the funds, you talked about the funds that Congress approved a certain amount in the past few days. Do you have the funds you need to do this? You would save some if you coordinate with the other, if you work with these other groups you mentioned, like Mayo and the others who already have a body of people they're looking at.
And I particularly want to give credit to the VA because this Million Veterans Program is probably the largest such study, and they've already invested a lot, and they have electronic health records and some DNA information on hundreds of thousands of people that was going to sort of make a really quick start on this whole effort. The president proposed $215 million in this coming fiscal year that starts October 1st. The Congress has embraced that, which was great to see. I mean, that doesn't happen all the time. I think this is not a partisan issue. This is an opportunity which I think almost everybody who's sort of heard about it kind of gets excited about. Wow, you could do that for cancer, and then you could build this national cohort, and this would have all of these consequences. Why wouldn't you want to do that? But of course, that's the first year. If this is going to be successful, it's going to need to play out over many years. And it will probably need to grow from the budget that's there for this coming fiscal year to something a bit larger than that, not a huge amount larger than that. And in our system, it's very hard to make long-term plans. I'm enormously gratified to see the enthusiasm about precision medicine, but it comes in the context of a pretty troubling 12-year slide in support for biomedical research, where NIH has lost now about 23% of our purchasing power since 2003. And this is a 23%, down from where we were in 2003. Which means the average investigator who's coming to us with their bright ideas from all of the institutions around this country where great science is being done, they have the worst chance in history of getting funded, down now to about 16%. Traditionally, it's been twice that. So we're leaving a lot of great science on the table. And I can understand then why some of them are going, well, how could you be starting this big, fancy new program when, in fact, the foundation of everything we do, which is the investigator-initiated hypothesis-driven science, is being so badly squeezed? And I totally resonate with that. At the same time, even though this sounds like a big effort, it is less than 1% of the NIH budget. And if it has inspired some enthusiasm, if it has gotten people who weren't paying that much attention to medical research to go, wow, you could do that, well, that helps the whole enterprise, I think.
Well, speaking, staying on the money, how many years was it that Congress didn't even approve a budget for the NIH? They were going on what we call continuing resolutions.
Yes.
So how do you function? I mean, I'm going to broaden this out a little. How do you function in that environment when
very
you don't
frustrating.
know?
It's very frustrating. I mean, anybody who's in business would say the worst thing in business is uncertainty. Well, the worst thing in medical research is uncertainty. What we do with NIH support is this foundational work, understanding how life works and how disease happens, and we work as closely as we can with the private sector to be sure we have an ecosystem that has all of the right parts, and it does, but the ecosystem needs support, and that support has been dwindling. So it is incredibly frustrating as you see year after year loss of purchasing power. The biggest blow, of course, was sequestration, this really most stupid of all possible financial models for managing the government's budget. Everybody would agree with what I just said. It was the stupidest possible model. It was put in place so that there would have to be some other choice made so that this couldn't happen. It was a poison pill, but we all swallowed it, or Congress helped us, and NIH certainly swallowed it. We lost $1.5 billion on one day in March of 2013 because of sequester, and we've not been able to recover all of that since. So I'm having groused about that, and I just did, and I think it's justified.
And I gave you an opportunity to do that.
I would say the good news here is, looking at this year, I've been at NIH now for 22 years. I came there to run the Genome Project. I've been the NIH director for 6 years. I have never seen a time of more agreement on the Hill about the importance of turning this corner, about getting medical research back on a stable trajectory where those investigators that are about to give up can have some hope that there's actually a career path for them and they don't have to do something else or move to another country. Other countries, by the way, have continued to grow while we've been shrinking, and that ought to be something we'd worry about too. But when you see what the House did, proposing a $1.1 billion increase for NIH next year, what the Senate did, a $2 billion increase. There's lots of other aspects of those appropriations bills that make people very uneasy, and I'm sympathetic with that. But as far as medical research, we seem to have arrived at a point where everybody says, this is a good thing for the government to do. We've kind of squeezed this one too much. Let's try to see what we can do to put some of that back.